Hello, dear people. Thank you for coming over. Allergies. Well, Westfield, New Jersey is where this one takes place. It's interesting. Getting in, just I've known about this person who. Oh, I should give a disclaimer. If you're sensitive to crime, this is not for you. If you're not of legal age, please leave. And do kids listen to the parents anymore when the government says you can do what you want? There we go. All right, so do what you must. There we go. So, Westfield, New Jersey, there is a family, very dysfunctional family, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, not so humble. They're definitely, yeah. I think I kind of am getting why they were. So, yeah, don't mind me. I'm going to put on some makeup. I'm not doing anything different than I've done the past couple of days because this is what makes me feel good. All right, so John List. Have you heard of him? I'm digging again because I've forgotten again. Oh, no. Anyway. John List was in the services. I'm not going to go too much into his background. I'm going to focus, and I'm not going to mention anyone's names because I don't think that's very nice if I do that. There are no survivors of his family, but there could be cousins. There's definitely neighbors because one neighbor actually went on her son's YouTube page and shared her background with the List children. So John List marries his wife. I don't know much information about her. I'm just starting to dig in again. How I got to know about this case. So I know I'm jumping all around. Books do that too, so it's not just me. And I hate books that do this. Back in the 70s, there was that show by John Walsh. He's the father of a murdered child, and he really works hard at making sure people are brought to justice. And it was on his show that he spoke of John List, and they had a bust of him, and it was 17 years in the future what John List would look like. Boy, was it ever accurate. They busted him. Thank God they did. But it didn't take them very long at all. Not at all. Because one of the neighbors of, and again, okay, his future name, don't remember. I'm just getting the kind of story. What, that's irrelevant to me. It has no, he used a fake name. Why would I care about the fake name? What was nuts is, it is alleged, okay, that his poor mom was locked up in the third story of his house that he couldn't afford to keep. He was siphoning money from her account. He was supposed to be an accountant, but he'd been fired so many times. The guy's history in the whole time was getting fired. I don't know. He had OCD. A lot of us do. A lot of us don't. But yeah, he was really nuts. He was kind of cuckoo. So one day from school, his kids are coming home, and they're not really close because mommy's upstairs drinking. Probably because, she can't get out of this marriage with this guy. And of course, that's alleged, but there's enough information out there online. You can draw your own conclusion. She doesn't even come out of her own bedroom. She has a bedroom of her own. She doesn't share it with her husband. And she's forever drinking and smoking. Stops going to the church. And so anyway, he's a Lutheran. The family was Lutheran. And, later he kind of used that against the victims. 2 boys, 1 girl, grandma, and the wife all get, because he wasn't man enough to, in my view, my humble opinion, to take care of his family financially. Could have gone to, he had a mansion, a 3rd-story mansion. Google pictures of that mansion. 3 acres of land. He could have grown vegetables. He could have rented out part of the house. Could have done a lot of things. You don't murder your family because you can't afford them. Like, keep a job. Can't keep a job, find something else. Clearly he was on the wrong thing. But this OCD really kicked in very oddly. And I'm just kind of, again, just researching this, so I haven't got the full story. So this guy's doing an interview on YouTube, and I can't remember the page. I should tell you where it is. Let me find it. And then I can share you. Morbid Mitch. Yeah. His mom, Morbid Mitch's mom, was a friend of the List children, of all of them, and says such nice things, which is really nice to hear, someone being kind towards somebody else. She's like, yeah, the oldest daughter, she's a year and a half older than me, and really nice. And they would talk about their dolls, they would talk about bike riding, and the things that kids love talking about. We like talking about playing ball. We love planning a sleepover. They probably plan stuff like that. This girl, though, next door, never went into any of the boys' bedrooms, and she never slept over, to my knowledge. She got a creepy, I'm just putting the word creepy in there, because it sounded to me that's the word she was searching for. And she very much, isn't it interesting? She very much, the neighbor, who's now a grown woman, is expressing and remembering memories of back then. Very much sounds like a little weak girl, just like she was back in that all over again. Like it's really haunted her life. And interestingly, people who are perpetrators like Mr. John List don't think not only of the victims, but they don't think of the victims' friends, neighbors, children, people, that they get groceries from, or deliver groceries or eggs, or, the milkman used to come around. Well, people like that, you develop friendships, relationships, and, things like that. You develop relationships with all kinds of people for many different reasons. John List was the most self-centered SOAB, I feel, that, because he had financial issues, but he's a Christian, right? So he writes, after he does this to the family, drags them all onto sleeping bags in the big room with wooden floor. I don't know what they call, I can't remember what they call the room. It's not important, I don't think. But anyway, he writes, I think it's a 5-page letter to the pastor. I'm sorry to put this on you, Pastor, as well as all the other things that you have to do, but can you please make sure they get, the children were told they were going to die soon, so could you please, and they want to be cremated, so would you please, take care of that, and take care of this, take care of this. In other words, clean up after him, Dude was an eccentric nutcase, and he died at 82 or 3 years old, and as far as I'm concerned, he should have gone way sooner. He took that, again, I like to come back to the victims, and I'm not speaking much on his family. I don't like doing that. I'm going to talk about a crime. I'd rather talk about at least an adult that had a chance to have a life. But when it's children, and I'm a parent and a grandparent, and I just think it's really, it's very sad when it's children that never had a chance to, his oldest daughter, not able to finish drama, told the drama teacher, by the way, the oldest girl told the drama teacher she thinks Dad is planning a whole, the family to be executed. I'm using different words. I'm paraphrasing all over the place, so take what you like. Google it, search it if you want to. But yeah, and the drama teacher says, well, I'm used to drama, children, who are into drama, that are very teenagers that are like that. Now, interestingly, so John List committed this travesty, wrote letters, mailed letters, gave reasons why for a month they would be gone, and da 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 da. And cold in here. He wrote letters, and he basically just, he left. He had a month jump on the police. So, interestingly, the daughter's drama teacher claimed, so I don't know if it's true or if it's just something I found that wasn't accurate, because when you start digging in this stuff and you search different areas for this information, one person will say it was a blue sky, and the other person will say it was the pinkest sky I've ever seen in my life. Everybody has a different, and it's the same here, because I'm taking bits and pieces of what I was told from all over the place and trying to put a story together. But wow. List goes on to move away, have a different life, take a different identification, social insurance number, takes the ID from a dead person and a deceased, whatever you want to say, and starts his own life all over again. So really, he wasn't sorry for what he did. He used the excuse in the letter to his pastor that the reason he did it is because they were doing things that weren't very Christian, and he wanted them to make sure they got to heaven. I want to tell you, man, a real Christian would never think of murdering because to get their kids to heaven. Bring your kids up properly, and be a good example would be the way for that to happen. But man, oh man, creepy as all get out. So, wait a minute. Okay, Google, what's John Welch's program?
On the website jackwelch.strayer.edu, they say, build on the time-tested business practices from legendary CEO Jack Welch's decades of expertise.
Oh, Google read it.
Online MBA program
Okay, Google, stop.
Confidence and skills to
Hey,
get
Google.
ahead. Learn more.
Hey, Google, be quiet. Search it on Google, you'll find it. I did see it on TV. That's how I found out about it years ago. So it's probably when, there was very little in the way of cable. And America's Most Wanted, I think it was, by John Welch. I don't know. But the bust that they made of him was so spot on that someone 17 years later went, that's our neighbor. That's him. He did it. So anyway, moving forward, I can just say, people can blame the victim. He was doing that. He was blaming his mother, who he had locked up, his wife, who, in my personal opinion, could not stand to be around that psycho nut bar, who, oh, bless her heart, man, seriously. I left Christianity because I was with a sociopath and someone who was being charged, found innocent because she changed her story anyway, of child. And they always blame somebody. They never take accountability for their own actions, their own behavior. And List was doing that. I mean, he was blaming his daughter because she wanted to become an actress. That was her dream. She wanted to be an actress, and she would have been a beautiful one. She had potential, and a lot of potential, more than I'm sure what I could ever share with you or what someone could share online. I bet she was wonderful, and I bet she would have been fantastic. What a shame that her father took that. And one of the boys was in a ball game that day, and one story says that the father went to go pick him up, saw he was having a great game, and decided to let him have that one win, you know? Another story says that he was dropped off early. So again, you can't count on any of this information being 100% accurate. But I thought I'll throw that all in, and you know, you can research and get as much info, and there's going to be so many discrepancies between what it's like telling the truth. You know, there's three sides of the truth: your side, my side, and then the truth, because everyone has a different way or perspective of looking at it. So that sky may look blue to me, but it may look pink for where somebody else is living. You know, maybe it's morning and they're going, yeah, it's pink sky, because you know it's first thing in the morning, 3 hours earlier. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know. And so I appreciate other people posting stuff like this, but you know, what can we learn from it moving forward? If we have any of these traits, get help, I think would be the first one. I'm glad I did not let my kids go too far out of my reach, because I was a very, very protective parent, and they've made their own choices. They're adults. Maybe I should let go a little bit. Maybe they wouldn't mess up as much as they did. We all mess up though, as much as we do, and it's normal, because you know, everybody makes mistakes. But I don't know. I was very careful where my kids put their head down, and I couldn't be careful who they hung out with, because some of them just told me to F right off. No kidding. And again, that's their life, that's their story. But I did my best. Paul did his best. That's all you can do. A lot of the discipline was left to me, because Paul's kind of like, yeah, go ahead. But he was farm kid, right? He lived right on a farm, and they're used to not locking the door. And me, I came from, so I was really, home was not, you know, safe. I made sure my home was safe. My kids brought abused kids home to our home, and then we had to call the police and the ministry to say, hey, we have an abused child in our home. Please, what do we do? And police officers would show up and talk to the kid and say, well, staying here for a while, get a hold of the ministry, let them know. I'll let them know too with a report and blah, blah, blah. And the kids would stay like a couple months. And, you know, my daughter brought a friend over. She lived with us for I think it was almost a year. So our home was a home for kids, but you get, and all their friends, you know, just a party house kind of hang out. We're very careful with parties. It's both of us supervising, and even that wasn't enough. But this poor List family, those kids didn't have parties. They had backyard friends at best, and their father was continually on them and on them and on them. The OCD in him, I think, really took over. In one thing I had heard, and again hearsay, everywhere they were in the house, he had to know where they were, who they were with, and what they were doing. I don't know. And yet he's the one who killed his kids and his wife and his mom. So, yeah. Know who your kids are hanging with, your grandkids. Be proactive. Set up a little thing. If there's something wrong, text me. At least we have cell phones now. That makes a big difference. But the List family was just really, kind of really hit home, I think. How could a dad do that to his kids? He's supposed to be a dad. Dads are supposed to protect the kids, you know, the boys and the girl, from all of this horrific stuff going out on the world, you know, and he wasn't doing that. He was the perpetrator. He was the bad guy. So that's all I got. Again, you know, that the disclaimer was kind of out in the beginning, but he's dead now. His wife, you know, like I said, murdered, but there are no direct family members from his family, but there's more that I want to say. Anyway, guy should have protected his kids. And all because he was just failing in business. Blamed his children. I don't know if he blamed his wife. I have no idea. But sometimes people will stay in a bad situation. This is the 70s. Sometimes people will stay in a bad situation because they're scared to leave. They're terrified to leave. Lots of women are abused all the time. Lots of men are abused too. And they'll stay in that abusive cycle because that's what they know. And maybe the mom, her closing herself off and doing what she had to do was to protect her. But who was there for her kids? You know? So again, hearsay, most of it. The rest of it, it's on Google, research, newspapers, go into microfiche if you have to, if it's there. Just find out as much as you can if you're interested in this this true crime story. I don't know, I'll do these once a month, I guess. And take care. Stay safe. Good Lord, this world is a strange place. Stay safe. No matter what you do, just stay safe.